Hello and welcome to my MIS topic proposal. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of streaming payouts in the music industry. Every day when you open your streaming service of choice and start listening to your favorite artists, are you aware of how much money you're contributing to their income? Were you aware that artists received compensation for your streams? It may be a foreign concept for some, but one of the critical methods of artists receiving their payouts for distributing their music is through digital streaming, such as getting plays on streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Every time you listen to a song on these streaming platforms, the artist gets a very, very small amount of money, even as small as 0.0011. That's just over 1/10 of a cent, in case you were wondering. And you may be thinking that that's an insanely low amount of money for these artists to make. How do they make a living? But when put into perspective on just how many times The Weeknd's song Blinding Lights was streamed, those payouts start to make a lot more sense. To show you exactly how big of a payout that is, let's do a little bit of math. As of right now, at this recording of this video, Blinding Lights by The Weeknd has 4,597,027,744 streams. Now, remember that streaming payout of 0.0011? If we multiplied that by the number of streams that he has on this song, that means that The Weeknd would have made roughly $5,056,730.52. Now, let's put that into perspective that this streaming payout that I chose to use for the equation is the lowest streaming payout on the list. If we were to multiply his amount of streams by Apple Music's streaming payout of 0.008, he would have made roughly $36,776,221.95, and that's not including the other 13 tracks on his album After Hours. Now, in actuality, this streaming payout could range anywhere between these two numbers, as listeners are always listening on multiple different platforms and have different preferences. Why are streaming payouts a significant source of income for the artist? Well, we are in the modern days of music, where CDs and records are rapidly losing popularity amongst listeners and fans. Artists are no longer relying on the sales of these physical copies to be their main source of income. Artists today rely on digital streams and shows and tours to make their money. And as of today's statistics, there are over 626 million active listeners on Spotify, 93 million listeners on Apple Music, and 82.2 million listeners on Amazon Music. Now, I understand that millions and millions of dollars for a single song is a tremendous amount of money, and you may be wondering how these streaming services have the means to do so. Well, they have subscriptions. Top streaming platforms have huge amounts of listeners and subscribers, and with each of these platforms having different subscription prices that range anywhere from $10 to $20, the 93 million listeners on Apple Music paying $11 a month to listen to their music makes a lot more sense on how these platforms are able to spare just 1/10 of a cent on one play. In my personal experience in the music industry, I've gained a small following on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube. Now, I am nowhere near as popular as The Weeknd, however, I've still received my fair share of payouts, and it makes it so much more sense now that I have a basic understanding of how streaming payout systems work, because since June of 2023, when my album debuted, I've made approximately $98.84, which may not seem like a ton, but I'm still very proud of it. Being a beginner in the music industry, it always confused me on how to make money in different ways from my original work and project. And originally, I was only creating music for the joy of it. But now, with this information, it makes me more confident that I could earn compensation for all of my efforts. Overall, I think it's really important that anyone who's interested in producing, distributing music, and being an artist should know the inner workings of the streaming service system. And they should also be aware of how they're receiving their earnings. I hope that this topic was an eye-opener on just how significant streams are to an artist's income, and I hope that they can benefit you on your journey as it has for me. Thank you for listening.